And welcome to another edition of South Texas Crossfire. This is Attorney Joe Flores reminding you to join us each and every week right here on KTMV in Corpus Christi. Thank you very much, Don Humberto and your son Carlos doing a great job out there. And Channel 21 in San Antonio, Time Warner. And let's not forget our new addition, KVTV in Laredo, Channel 13. And also a special thanks to our new sponsor, Houssiere Durant Houssiere, the MatthewsLawFirm.com, and also Impact Credit Group USA.com. Tommy Holbein out there helping people. And also, let's not forget Rhodes Vela in San Antonio and Houston. That's RhodesVela.com. With me today, I have the distinct pleasure of introducing a trial lawyer who not only does medical malpractice negligence, and we're going to be talking about that he's got the courage to still do it. There's so few that are doing it, and it's a very important subspecialty, but also product liability. First half, we're going to focus in on medical malpractice, and stay tuned to the second half because it's going to be product liability. You're going to learn a lot, so stay with us. Charles, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
And let me tell you a little bit about him. I'm going to brag on him a little bit. Charles is still doing these cases even after House Bill 4. Everybody's saying medical malpractice, nobody should do it anymore, but what about the voices of the injured? I was an RN for years, and I also did medical malpractice, Charles, and I know I'm sending you cases too. Everybody nationwide is also looking to lawyers like yourself that are handling medical malpractice. So let's do this first half, jump feet first in. What happened with House Bill 4 here in Texas? A lot of people out there on YouTube and everywhere don't know. What happened that changed medical malpractice in Texas for people who got injured?
Well, first of all, I think the viewers should know what medical negligence is, or hospital negligence is. That has been defined by our courts as not doing what a reasonable physician or hospital should have done under the same or similar circumstances, sometimes defined as failing to live up to standard care. That is defined in the Act. That Act was passed in 1977, called the Medical Insurance Improvement Act of 1977, insurance being the operative word, so that the insurance companies, in our view, could increase their profits. It didn't work as well as they had hoped, so they came back for a second bite at the apple.
Boy, did they.
They did, and they came back with House Bill 4. It was fought very hard by the lawyers across the state. None of us wanted it. It only benefited the hospital corporations and the insurance industry. One of the things that they did was limit your liability, your right to trial by jury, believe it or not, in the state of Texas. And what they did was they reduced the ability of a person to recover for pain, suffering, mental anguish, disability, disfigurement. If a person, let's say for a moment, had their leg removed and it was the wrong leg, they would be disfigured. They would be disabled. They would be in pain. And they would be suffering mental anguish. You might be surprised to know that even under that serious circumstance of an improperly removed leg, for instance, you are limited to only $250,000 for all the doctors that were involved, and $250,000 if the hospital did something wrong for those type of damages. We think that is outrageous because jurors routinely award sums far greater than that. The only thing they left as an area where the jury could give larger amounts of damages was in medical bills, oddly enough, to make sure that the hospitals were paid the medical bills for what they had done injuring that poor plaintiff, and for lost earnings. That is only area in the law today that is not capped. Additionally, they left the cap on a death case. The maximum you can recover in a death case since 1977 in the state of Texas is $500,000 against every possible health care provider, no matter if you died as a result of gross negligence on their part or negligence, if they poisoned you or gave you too much drugs and you died, the maximum you can get is $500,000 plus a COLA, cost of living increase amount, which has increased it to almost double that today. But remember, this might be a husband, a wife, a child that is injured for the rest of their life or dies. And those are the limits of liability under our current legislation.
Well, unbelievable. I mean, I know that you do this day in, day out. You do medical malpractice cases, injuries to children, injuries to women. In a separate show that we had done, we had Dr. Gil Milikovsky, who was also saying that it's an incentive for negative outcomes for hospitals to make profits. And they're also getting away with pushing our legislators to limit their liability, and insurance companies. Let me stop and ask you a question. Insurance companies said that it was medical malpractice lawsuits that drove up doctors' rates of insurance, and most people in Texas, they bought it. Is that true?
Absolutely not. There have been many, many studies about this in the state of Texas and around the United States. It is not medical malpractice or products liability that increases insurance rates. It is insurance companies' bad investments and disasters such as Katrina. They have to pick up their losses from somewhere, and the doctors and the hospitals are the easy target. Those people make large sums of money. Insurance companies look at their customer base and say, gee, where can we make a profit? Increase our profits. Let's charge the doctors. Let's charge the insurance companies. And of course, that's really charging you in these areas. When we've looked at the reduction in the amount of recovery that people can recover today, and the inability of plaintiffs today to find lawyers who are willing to take these cases on a contingency fee basis because of the limitation on liability, we have learned that there has been a reduction in lawsuits across the state of Texas, but there really has been no significant reduction in insurance premiums.
Well, and I've heard tell, also the Association for Justice, we've got trial lawyers here in Texas, but not just us. There are independent studies that are saying this, that it's not just you saying it, Charles. I think the people out there need to know that a lot of people have been misled by House Bill 4 here in Texas. They tried to do it nationally and they shot it down, but who knows? They're going to come back for a second bite. As you said, they did a second bite here, and look at where we're at. A lot of people out there voted for it, but I don't think they knew what they were voting for, did they?
No, they didn't know what they were voting for, and they didn't realize the unintended consequences of what they had done. What has happened now is we look like the haven for medical negligence in the United States. We are bringing bad doctors into the state. We are bringing untrained doctors that have been sued and asked to leave other states. We're bringing in insurance companies that are underfunded to cover them. The insurance companies that were here before now realize that their efforts to reduce the cost of insurance has backfired. We are bringing in bad doctors and bad insurance companies into the state of Texas and creating more medical malpractice and injuring more of our citizens as a result of what our legislature did.
Well, and a lot of people don't understand when you laid it out there, and I'm glad you did. You talked about the caps. A lot of people don't understand the difference between non-economic caps and a wage earner. And the way I try to explain it sometimes, and correct me if I'm wrong, but a little old lady who passes away and a 40-year-old engineer, chemical engineer making $80,000 for Dow or somebody, their life's worth more, is the way I'm looking at it because of the caps.
And that's the way it's presented usually in cases. And here's the trick. Here's what is done. Person is injured, and if you are not working and making a lot of money, maybe you're a college student, maybe you're a mother that has an education, and you're not working. They say, well, you're not worth anything. You're just a housewife, for instance, and we all know that is ridiculous, and we understand how significant our mothers are and our wives are in the family and in the home unit.